Alright, so there's this idea going around in AI founder circles right now that every AI startup is basically 1 week away from getting cloned. You raise the money, you build the product, you launched it. But 72 hours later, someone cloned your core feature with a different model. Your investors are asking about your moat, your co-founder is panicking, but you don't have any answer. This scenario is not hypothetical. Every AI founder that I talk to is terrified of this, and they should be. And here's what they do next. They double down on AI model fine-tuning, they try to get into price wars, they try to add more features, and they tell themselves, if I build just fast enough, I will make it better than the other guy, and I'll be fine. But the truth is, none of that actually works. And in this video, I'll explain why, and I'll also cover what founders should do instead. But let's start with the traditional route and why it doesn't work. So 2 years ago, if you had access to GPT-4, that was a moat. Maybe your engineers know how to fine-tune the RAG pipelines, and that was your moat. But today, your moat is not an AI model. The AI infrastructure is completely obsolete. AI has gotten smart enough that devs who don't even know RAG can learn, build, and implement a RAG pipeline with AI guidance. What I'm saying is AI is already a commodity. So if the model itself won't save you, maybe your data will, right? This one's a bit more interesting, and I'll give it some credit because unique data can be a moat if it's genuinely proprietary and actually compounds with scale. Legal AI companies with exclusive court record access, medical AI companies with real hospital partnership, those are real data moat. But for most people building right now, the proprietary data is a few thousand scraped rows of the internet. Maybe some synthetic stuff you build using GPT, or maybe there is actually some proprietary data from your 10 or 50 customers. But that's not a moat. That's a weekend project for someone who has more resources than you. And honestly, data moat don't appear out of thin air. You build them by being so close to the customer that you generate data that no one else get to. But this closeness has to come first. The data moat is the outcome, not the starting point. And if data isn't your magic bullet either, maybe speed is, right? Because that's the hustle culture tells us. Ship faster, iterate harder, out-execute them. Well, that was Amazon 10 years back. The problem is, everyone has Cursor now. Everyone has Claude code. Almost 90% devs are using it. Anyone can ship a feature in an afternoon. Speed is table stakes, a commodity, not an advantage. So if models are not a moat, data is hard to build without a moat, and features get cloned overnight, what is left? Is there anything that nobody can copy? Think about WebMD versus your actual doctor. WebMD has access to the same medical knowledge that your doctor has. You type in the symptoms and WebMD spits back possibilities. It works, kind of. But your doctor, on the other hand, knows things WebMD never will. Your stress levels, your history, the fact that when you say, I've been tired lately, what you actually mean is, I haven't slept for more than 4 hours a day in the last 6 weeks and I'm scared. WebMD can't know that. It doesn't live in your life. It doesn't sit in the same room long enough to hear what you're trying to say. And that's actually the difference between an AI product that can be cloned and the one that can't be. Anyone can build the WebMD version overnight. Same models, same APIs. But the product that becomes the doctor, the one that actually embeds with the customers, watches their team work for 2 weeks, figures out that the real problem isn't even what the customer said it was. that product is really hard to copy because you can't copy time, you can't copy proximity, you can't copy the understanding you get from actually being in the room. This mode of working has a name for it. It's called forward deployed engineering. And the company that really proved it works is Palantir. Back in 2003, Palantir had a software that was powerful but basically unusable. So Palantir did something kind of radical. They sent their own engineers directly to the customers. Mind you, not the customer success managers, engineers. But here's the thing that most people miss about why forward deployed engineers actually worked so well for Palantir. It's not just that they sent engineers to customer, because a lot of companies do that. In fact, consulting firms have been doing this forever. But in a consulting firm, what the person learns at the client stays with the client, or it stays in the head, and as soon as the person walks out of the door of the firm, the proprietary knowledge is gone with them. At Palantir, the deployed engineers fed everything they learned directly back to the core product. Every deployment makes the platform smarter for the next customer, and that's the compounding loop. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds great for big companies like Palantir, but I'm a founder with just 2 engineers. I can't forward deploy anybody. I can barely deploy myself. So here's the qualification I would use for smaller teams. If you're building something from scratch, I would ask myself, can I describe the customer journey better than they can? Before you write even a single line of AI code, spend a week deep in the customer interviews, not a survey. Actually speak to potential customer, understand their pains and their unsaid efforts that they are making. And if you are a founder who already has traction but competitors are already cloning you, you need to have working sessions with the customers and watch them use your product. Every customer has what I call invisible problems, things they have just normalized. They may say, oh yeah, we export to Excel and then re-import it. Said like it's totally fine. Because that is fine for them. They have been doing it for 2 years. These are the things that never show up if you ask AI to mimic customer pain points. These are the things you only find by watching, and these are the things that become your actual moat because nobody else knows them. Write down at least 5 to 7 things that you learned by watching that the customer never mentioned. If you do not have 5 to 7 things, you have not watched enough. And then ask yourself, if I stopped building my current roadmap for 2 weeks and I just observed more, would I build the same thing? This is the most uncomfortable question because usually the answer is no. What you're building right now is the thing you think the customer needs, not the thing they actually need. Because the ongoing advice of using AI to mimic customer pain is simply bullshit. What you are doing is hallucinating with the AI model. That's what it is. And you don't smell that bullshit until you talk to the humans, to your real customers. Where AI can definitely help is thinking around the edge cases once you know the pain points from the interviews. Because you have the same models as every other AI startup. Same tools, same cloud, same APIs. The only difference, and I mean really the only difference, is how well you understand the person you're building for. That is it. That is the moat. Well, I didn't cover how to actually run those customer interviews in this video. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see, and I will make that happen. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.